The thing about that is, I mean, I don't really mind like the way that it's set up right now. We just need to have some incentive for people to do PvP. Because people who don't want to do PvP have no reason to do it at all. Like, if people would get gear from doing PvP, then they probably would do it more often, right? Even if they weren't super into PvP. Like, I'm not super into Mythic Plus, but I do Mythic Pluses because it's a really good way of getting gear. So, I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I think that incentivizing PvP better would be great. And I think that it's not unreasonable for PvP gear to have really, like, pretty high item level because its stats are so funky. You know? Especially because the item level is the only thing that matters for PvP, so you may as well, right? And if you do get a piece of gear from PvP that's high item level and has good stats for your class, awesome. Like, that's exciting. That it should be that way. But it ain't. But it ain't. You get low item level PvP gear that you don't use, so you just do PvE all the time to get high item level gear for PvP. But then, but people doing that to grind gear for PvP, like, that's cool. Like, if you want to do PvE to get good stuff for PvP, that's fine. But you gotta understand that takes people out of the PvP game. So it's gonna make queues take longer, like, just makes it less active. So anything that makes PvP more active is better for the game, in my opinion. That's how you make an MMO better, I think. Encourage people to play. And that's the best thing that you can do for PvP, is just have it be something where PvP is incentivized to bring people who aren't necessarily super into PvP into the game. That's the best thing you can do, I think. It makes it fun. You build from the bottom up, really. Even if it just brings a bunch of noobs into the game, it's good to do that. Noob infusion is important. I disrespected. Hit with the flex that fresh Twitch Prime, so thank you very much, man. So yeah, I hopefully that they incentivize PvP. And I think one of the best ways to incentivize PvP is by making it worthwhile for people who aren't into it to do it. Not just for, like, pets and titles and stuff, but, like, for gear. It's an MMO, man. Make you have some character progression off of PvP too, you know? I think that's one of the things that was lost when they decided to do this item level thing. Like, I'm okay with it, like, whatever. I understand why they did it, but you don't want to take away the feeling of progression from an MMO. That's not good, but Legion was still fun. I still enjoyed it. I think that's just one big criticism. Well, I wouldn't even call it a criticism. It's just something that we've all learned together. We tried something because whenever people talk about PvP, they always complain about they can't do it because they always feel overgeared or outgeared or whatever. It's always hard to get into it. And what we find is it's not actually about gear at all. It's but people who don't want to do PvP won't do PvP because they don't really have that mindset. But they will do PvP if you give them something like in order to upgrade your legendary more quickly, you have to cap in 2s and 3s every week. People were about that. They were queuing 2s and 3s, man. Let me tell you that. Raiders were queuing Arena to get those little upgrade points, and that is what we need more of. But not just only once in a while. I mean, like, weekly incentive to at least queue a couple games of Arena, man. Like, just like you do your weekly raids, you want to make sure you're capping your characters in 3s. I haven't capped my character in 3s. I've capped my character in 3s the least out of any time I've ever been playing WoW this season, right? Because I realized, like, well, just do PvE to get better gear. Even though gear isn't that big of a deal, it's just been fun. But it brought me into a different part of the game because I could get better gear from it. So I'm saying that that effect could occur in PvP as well. Anyway, Super, my man, let me hit you with the flex for that super sub blue for a year and a half in a row. Oh, baby, indeed. Thank you very much, man. That's a bad idea. Force people to PvP, and we're not forcing anybody. You're just giving them a chance to enhance their progression. Just like it's not a bad idea to encourage people to do Mythic Plus, like me, who aren't necessarily into PvE. It's not a bad idea at all. Increasing involvement in the game, increasing people taking part in content is not a bad idea. It is what it is. Rating improves your skill with your character. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of reasons to interact with all kinds of different content in the game. I'm just saying if there's no incentive to do it, then some people won't do it, right? Like, some people don't care about getting good at PvP. They don't care about getting titles in PvP. It doesn't matter. They would care about getting gear. And they would do PvP if there was a reason to do it that was like gear related, right? Character progression related, or they otherwise would not. I'm not saying that you should be forced to do it, but it is one of those things where if you incentivize it, people will do it, and that's good for the game. You feel me? You feel me? Yep, there you go, disrespecting, there you go. Yeah, raiding teach you how to do damage, man, that's for sure. It's the most... Oh, you hated the expansion to the story, oh. Yeah, my PvP was good, though. I feel you. I feel you. Yeah. I feel you. I feel you, that's what I'm saying, is that the item level rewards are not proportional. Like, they should be... If anything, I think they should be much higher than PvE. Like, once again, like a heroic raid, what you have to do to do to get 945 item level in PvP is much harder than heroic raiding. But like if you're 2400, you should be getting like mythic quality gear, or at least mythic item level gear, I think, for 2400 plus. And then 2600 should be like above mythic quality, because playing 3v3 at 2600 plus is elite WoW playing. So you should be getting better than mythic quality gear, item level wise. And once again, that gear is probably gonna have really funky stats for you, so it's not like you're gonna just go and be able to get like insane gear from PvP and just go and just face roll raids. It's not how it works. It's gonna have really funky stats, but if something does give you good stats, like that's cool. That's fine, because you're a god at WoW. Not a god, but you're playing WoW at a very high level and you should be rewarded for it. In PvP and PvE, I think. But you're probably gonna get some sort of like crit verse 975 item level piece, which is garbage. But you're gonna wear it for PvP and not for PvE, which sounds reasonable. Doesn't have to be like completely out of scale, but it should be good, right? Should be good. Yeah. Should be good. Please go developer for Blizzard? No, I'll just provide feedback and keep streaming because I like it. I'm happy to provide feedback. Happy to share ideas, but I like my job. And I want Blizzard to keep kicking ass, and I want to keep kicking ass, and we can keep working together, doing a good job together. But I think my spot as a streamer is where I want to be. That's for sure. Very grateful to be able to do this. Also very grateful to be able to be part of the alpha and be part of sharing my thoughts on things like that. It might be a little bit late in the expansion to start changing this item level tuning, but I think what we should do is learn from Legion and carry forth this lesson into Battle for Azeroth and improve on some of the stuff that we've done in Legion, right? That's what I'm thinking. You don't really need Throwdown back. Skull Splitter could be like Throwdown, though. That could be kind of cool. If Skull Splitter's stunned, that'd be awesome. The first time I saw Skull Splitter, I was like, Throwdown! But it just generates rage. But yeah, if Skull Splitter was a stun, now we're talking. Now we're talking. I mean, that's pretty much how I feel about PvP, item level and stuff like that. I swear, if you incentivize PvP with gear, people will come and do PvP. I promise. Like, I even think the incentive model for right now, like a random piece of gear of high item level, is like better than conquest points and buying your gear for PvEers. I think it has a chance to Warforge, has a chance to Titanforge, has a chance to be a really good piece of gear, has a chance to be a crappy piece of gear that's only good item level. But like all that's really good. I think that's better than buying a static item level piece of your choice that has the static stats. Like, I think that this model right now is actually better for incentivizing people to play PvP if they're PvEers. But it has to be much higher item level than it is now. But it's close though. It's close. It's close. I don't mind the RNG gearing system. And once, like I just said, I think it's better for incentivization in the way that I have in mind for it, because of the way it works. Because it has that sort of, this could be really good or it could be not good at all. But there's a little bit of a chance for it to be awesome, and that chance for it to be awesome is like one of those things that will pull people in. But if they just look at the item level and are like, well, I mean it's good item level, but it's not the stats I need for raiding. They're not going to raid it. I mean, sorry, they're not going to PvP for it. But if there's a chance, like the Mythic Pluses, like if there's a chance they could get some 980 piece, and it maybe could have good stats for them if they get the right one, if they get lucky, then that's going to pull people into the game. That's gonna pull people into the game. That's gonna make them run it every week. It's how it is, man. It's how it is. Stupid, no big changes. But for you and me, we already like Fury, so that's a good thing. Fury still feels really good. But we've been talking about this over and over and over that it's just the first stage of alpha, so things might not be super different right now. And that's okay. That's okay. Our chat is very special, that's for sure. We got a good group of peeps, man. Good group of peeps. Let's steal my soul, you little rascal. Yep. Take for the Arcana Crystal. I mean, you get lucky. But usually PvP will not be giving you an Arcana Crystal. It'll give you a piece of gear with 2 stats on it, not a trinket with, you know, every secondary stat, right? That's not what PvP would do for you. Basically how PvP gearing works is that, like, maybe I have a chance to maybe get, like, a Versatility Mastery piece that's 980. Now, Versatility isn't my best stat as an Arms Warrior, but Mastery is really good, and Versatility is good enough for me to use it. So, could go for it, right? But pretty much every piece of gear that you get for PvP is going to have, like, Versatility on it, right? Which is not an amazing stat, really, for anybody, I don't think. But, if you get, like, another secondary stat along with Versatility, like Versatility Mastery, it could be good. I mean, it's good enough to use, right? Even if it doesn't give you set bonuses or item or like ideal stats. It's a high item level, and it's a decent enough stat. Or like you could get a trinket that's like that's Strength Mastery flat stat, which if it's high enough item level, it's good, but it's not like amazing. But it's good enough to use, maybe. And that would bring people into PvP. I'm not saying that PvP should reward you with any piece of gear in the game. I don't know if you know how PvP gearing works. So versus BS for off mages, great. Then you're gonna be ready to rock if you get a good verse piece, right? That's a good thing. So crit verse might be fantastic for you, but you'd have to get lucky. That's how it works. But that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying PvP gear should be bad in PvE. It just doesn't give you set bonuses, so there's like automatic sort of disadvantages there, right? But it should be good enough that you have the option of using it sometimes, right? That's cool. It should be like that. I like that there's some crossover. People sort of get bent out of shape about PvE gear and PvP, so they change the way it works. And I know why they changed the gear the way it is now for people, you know, making it a smaller gap between good gear and bad gear, right? Because I think it was in an attempt to try to increase participation, right? Because usually I bet when they ask people, what keeps you from doing PvP? They're like, well, I don't have the gear for it, so I get one-shotted. And they listen to that, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to decrease the gear gap. And more people will play that way because they feel like they can play. It's like, no, people who don't have that sort of PvP killer instinct won't go queue PvP. They're not interested in it, because if they did have that instinct, if they did want to do PvP, then they would understand that they're a noob when they have low gear, and that in order to get better gear, you got to play PvP, or play the game, and get better gear, and do it that way. But people won't do that, and that's not the game's fault. That's just either that's one part is the player not having the right mindset, or that maybe the content's not for them, or it's that the game is not giving them the proper incentive to get that gear. So once again, I think that we're almost on the right track. Somebody pick up a sticker, thanks. I think we're almost on the right track with the way the gear system works now. It just needs to be changed to incentivize PvP more. Rather than just do away with the gear gap, be like, okay, gear gap's gone, now people can play and have fun. It's like, nope. You got to actually pull those players in, because what they say is that the gear makes them not want to play. And that might be true for some people. But even if you close the gear gap, they walk in there and get one-shotted again because they're not good at the game. They're going to be annoyed and not playing PvP anymore. It's just how it is. But if they get one-shotted, they're like, well, I got one-shotted there, but if I get good enough at the game, and if I get good enough, you know, gear to start with, then I can carry this over and get really good gear later on. And it gives us some reason to do that. But there should definitely be some sort of combination of good item level, but also like PvP specific stuff, like having the set looks cool. Like a lot of people might not have otherwise done PvP as much as they did if the elite gear didn't look so damn cool, right? Like that's a good thing, but it shouldn't only be that. I don't think. But having elite gear look badass and make players who might not usually try to push for 2K try to push for 2K, good thing. Very good thing. Because once again, infusing the community from the bottom up is a good thing. Don't mean to be rude, but like bringing more noobs into PvP is a good thing. It really is. Building from in an MMO, building from the bottom up is how you want to do it, man. If you try to make it so it only appeals to the tip top, and I understand this. I used to give, you know, used to be like, talk about like casual friendly as like a bad thing. But if you only appeal to the tip top and make the entry point to the game very skill requiring, it will reduce the amount of players who can play and have fun off the bat. So if you have more people who are noobs, then that means that noobs get to fight against each other for a longer period of time, and every bracket from noob to beast, it gets a little bit bigger. There's more people within that bracket. Because what you don't want is a noob to come into the game and have so few people playing that they queue against beasts, get destroyed, and then don't want to play anymore. Because the skill gap is so far that they can't even really learn and improve at that level. Because they're just getting blown out of the water. That's happened to a lot of the games that I really, really like. And I don't want that to happen to WoW, so I understand why it is the way it is. So that's what I'm saying. If you infuse from the bottom up, it's good. So if you find ways of bringing in more players who are relatively casual into the game, even if it's just like a gear incentive, that's a good thing. Because as an MMO player, we like progression. We like getting new loots. So not only should it look cool, it should actually make our character stronger. That's how I think about it. Anyway. Your 949 item level still get one shot? That's because you're playing a Fury Warrior, dude. Literally the squishiest class in the game. You want PvP stat tinkering back? I think that they're gonna do that. I think that they're gonna make it so it's not just a raw template, but you'll have some choice over your stats, but it will still be sort of normalized, right? I think that's the idea. If I understood them correctly, I'm pretty sure that's the plan. There's gonna be some normalization, but it's gonna be sort of still taking into account what stats you decided that you want your character to have, which is cool. I'll show you something fast. It's a pain to find anyone for arena. That's a different issue. I think adding MMR to skirmishes would be great. You can queue unrated arena and find players around your level if you queue unrated skirmishes, or sorry, rated skirmishes, but not really rated. You know, MMR. So you still know like what MMR you're playing, but you're not really competing for rating. So you queue into a skirmish, you find somebody, you're like, didn't go too hot, no problem, thanks for the game, you know, leave the skirmish queue again, right? This is what I talk about with solo queue as well. For arena, I don't think that solo queue rated 3v3 is a good idea. I think that adding MMR to skirmishes is a great idea for finding partners. But if you also queue a skirmish and it goes really, really well, you're like, oh man, like, this guy's pretty good. We should queue together. Then you find friends to queue with from skirmishes, and then you can queue rated arenas together, and there, before you know it, you got yourself an arena buddy. You know, that's a good thing. Those are kind of like my primary pieces of feedback about solo queue. I think that solo queue like 6v6 RBG could be pretty cool. I'm not sure if it should be solo queue 6v6 or 10v10 though. There should still be both. It's just one of them should be pre-made and one of them should be solo queue. I think that the 6v6 should probably be solo queue, and the 10v10 should be full pre-made. That's what I think. We're getting some C4 Extreme Energy and some Alpha Aminos, mixing them together and drinking them down. We're gonna work out here very soon. Feeling ready. What if you could adjust your stats only in PvP? What do you mean by adjust your stats? I don't know.